There's a lot of bad influencer boxers, and I've talked about some before, and we're not going to get into some of the worst ones today, even though there are some bad ones, trust me. But we're going to be talking about one of the best boxers. It goes Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, KSI. Okay, obviously I'm being a little sarcastic here, guys, if you couldn't catch that. But in all reality, guys, can we just stop pretending that KSI is good? Like, I'm not even joking. In terms of influencer boxers, there are some good ones. And KSI, yeah, he's not one of them. And every single fight he has, even though I'm sure he's trying to prove that he's getting better with each fight, to me, it's having the opposite effect. Every single fight, I'm like, what is this dude doing? And it doesn't even feel like he's making an attempt to make him seem like an authentic, legitimate boxer. Like, at least Jake Paul, I really do believe he's a good fighter. And you could tell he was really making an effort to show that he is a legitimate boxer. Even though, yes, he just lost. But I'm saying overall, in the press conferences, inside and outside the ring, KSI has just continuously embarrassed himself. Like, over the course of the years of his fighting career, I've just gone continuously unimpressed with each fight. Like, his first fight was against this guy named Joe Wheeler. And again, most of these influencers, I don't know if it's because I'm from the United States and I'm just not United Kingdom enough to know who these guys are, but I've never even heard of them. And while I could say maybe KSI's form looks a little bit better from that video compared to the videos now, I would say, again, his opponents are just getting worse or around the same level as his first opponent. But you could really tell KSI legitimately thinks that he's a good boxer. Like, he really thinks he's Tank Davis, who just knocked out Ryan Garcia, when all he did was just fight my little 3-year-old cousin who has a YouTube channel. Like, how can you think you're a good professional boxer at the same level of Tank Davis when this is your opponent? Okay, so let's move on to his second and third fight, which was the notorious Logan Paul, which I would say, honestly, size-wise, frame-wise, I would say it was an even fight. So if we cancel out those two fights, which again, first one was a draw, and the second one was a very controversial win, I'll let it slide, but I've said multiple times, I don't even deem Logan Paul a legitimate fighter. He's in the same boat as KSI, where he just pays a bunch of money to have these boxing events so he can go around and tell people that he's a professional boxer. Listen, anyone can be a professional boxer if you're a multi-millionaire and you can organize a boxing event to fight some dude with 200,000 subscribers on YouTube and then host it and say, well, technically I'm a professional fighter. And you're definitely not a professional fighter just because you fought one of the best boxers of all time who's 60 pounds lighter than you and a foot shorter than you, and you still had to ask him to go easy on you. And even if we did classify all of these traits as you are a boxer, you still haven't won. But we're getting off track. This video is about KSI. But listen, I'm not just a hater. I have been and very supportive of a lot of the influencer boxers. Some of them are really good. KSI just annoys me because he has the choice to face legitimately good influencer boxers. But he keeps choosing to fight nobodies. Because deep down, KSI knows he doesn't want to risk losing. He'd rather go against extremely easy opponents than even remotely risk going against a hard opponent. When KSI was asked why he wouldn't fight Salt Papi, for those who don't know, Salt Papi is a legitimately good boxer in terms of the influencer boxer space. He just gives this stupid reason for why he can't fight Salt Papi. Like, we know why, because he's good. He's a good fighter.
Jake Southpaw, I'm ignorant.
No, he's orthodox. He's orthodox.
Okay.
So now, I'm just training against orthodox fighters now.
Got
So
you.
no more southpaws. You know, people want me to fight Salt Papi. It's not happening.
And Salt Papi has made it very clear he was more than willing to fight KSI. If anything, that's what he's been working his whole entire boxing career to do. You got to keep in mind, KSI's whole goal here is to fight Jake Paul. And he knows, even though Jake Paul should never give him a shot, if he loses one fight, that shot of him actually getting to fight Jake Paul, not gonna happen. Every single person KSI has fought has been legitimately terrible, like not even remotely good. And what really set me off was the time when KSI fought 2 people in one night. And yes, he beat them both. I know. He's really good. But wait till you see the opponents he fought, because both of them look like they should not have ever gotten in that ring. And I know what you're gonna say. One of them was supposedly a legitimate boxer. But I don't know what boxing organization these guys work for, but apparently it's very easy to be labeled a professional boxer, because look at how this guy performed.
He's saying, come on then.
He's talking, but he's not throwing punches. And KSI is ready to go! Sends into the canvas!
Oh, and if you think that's bad, wait till you see the second guy that he fought.
Yeah. Good uppercut! Brilliant uppercut! What is the... This guy is complaining so much, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Man, you're a pro fighter.
He's stuck in one of those...
It's all over!
And they called it! There we go, finally! How many...
Yeah, that was even worse. And that guy clearly has never fought a day in his life. I'm not even saying that he's just bad. I'm saying it's very obvious that most of the opponents that he's picked didn't even train. If they have been training, it's only been for like a week, a month at most. And then you're teeing off on your opponent as if you're Floyd Mayweather, who's about to get the belt from Conor McGregor. Like, let's be for real here. Nobody in their right mind should set this up. And if you feel comfortable just beating somebody up who's clearly not as skilled as you or not as experienced as you, you're a shitty person. And I know to most people who don't understand boxing or influencer boxing at most, they probably hear that he fought 2 people in one day and might say, wow, that's so impressive, he beat them both. But it's actually quite a depiction of the opposite. In a very easy fashion, then either one of 2 things. You are one of the best boxers of all time, or your opponents are terrible. That's not a good sign that you're able to fight 2 people in one day and easily beat them. That means your opponents suck. Could you imagine if Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor fought, and right after Nate Diaz choked out Conor, he had to go and fight Israel Adesanya, who's fresh with stamina, right after? What is the likelihood that you think he's going to win both of those fights? I really want to focus on this fighter right here, because again, this fighter clearly has no fighting experience. And I'm pretty sure if I could find the clip, his camp released video footage right after the fight saying that he has only been training for a few weeks and he took this on a very short notice because somebody fell out of the fight. So that's what happens with a lot of these guys who aren't big names like KSI, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, is they only train to fight for this one event and then they never train again because they don't really like it that much. So they do it so they can make quick money because they're probably getting more money than they're used to for doing this event. But in actuality, they're not real fighters. So it's just kind of messed up that you're paying somebody $10,000, $15,000 so you could punch them and then flex at the crowd so you could look like you're a good fighter. Because the whole goal of these boxing matches isn't to find a legitimately good, experienced boxer. It's to bully somebody and go after somebody who's less experienced and less skilled than you are. That's the goal for KSI at least. KSI's only legitimate highlight is this knockout by FaZe Temper, who again, I don't think he looks nearly as bad as that last guy that I showed you. But again, from a fighting perspective, you can clearly tell based on most of these guys' stances is that they haven't been training for very long. The way he backs up and tilts his head back shows an obvious lack of training. And KSI, Jake Paul, Anision Gibb, Logan Paul, these guys train year-round because they know this is their new thing. This is how they're going to make money. It's going to be from boxing. All of these other guys train just for the few months so they could fight them. And then you can clearly tell the difference. Like, this guy should not be fighting if you're trying to prove you can box. KSI could have easily fought FaZe Jarvis, Anision Gibb. These are legitimately good boxers. FaZe Jarvis in particular, I was actually really impressed. He hasn't even been doing this that long, and he's like really good. His head movement looks really good. Everything looks really, really good. Honestly, they should be careful what influencers they put him with because I think they should put him with legitimate boxers from this point forward because he's catching on way too fast. And I really do fear if they put him with some random YouTuber again, he could like really hurt them. Like Salt Poppy in particular has absolutely obliterated his last 2 opponents. So his next opponent, guess what, is a real boxer, Anthony Taylor. So I just find it crazy that Salt Poppy gets a legitimately good boxer as his next opponent after 2 fights of proving that he can box, and KSI has had over 6 fights. And yes, he's finally fighting a boxer, but we'll get to that. KSI's next opponent is somebody who goes by the name of Joe Fourier or something. I can't pronounce things. But anyways, when I looked him up, he comes up as a businessman. So I guess he's fighting the owner of Microsoft. No, but it does say in his little Wikipedia bio that he technically is a boxer too, but I don't know. You know, at this point, even if he is fighting a real boxer, it took him 7 fights and all of this unneeded flexing and beating up smaller opponents until finally you're like, hey, maybe I should fight somebody who knows how to fight. Only in the world of influencer boxing can you do an event 6 times, and only on the 6th time will you face somebody who's playing the same sport as you. Because that's what KSI does. He's fighting while these guys are playing video games. Anyways, I look forward to seeing what happens. I think KSI is a terrible person. I'm sorry. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry you had to hear me rant so long. I swear to God, sometimes I am not always hating on people. Anyways, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, make sure you like this video. If you didn't like this video, make sure you send it to KSI so I can be his next boxing opponent. Thank you, and have a good day.